and the sales and the pilot's $4 million. When you add it all up, it's about $5.6 million. The ratio's 10 to 1. It says there's 6 jobs, you know, full-time jobs. The apartments are market rate. So the only benefit when I went down below is the construction wages that the developers are bringing, you know, making available. And that's almost 17.5 million. So where are those wages going? My guess is they're going out into the county and they're circulating out there. So we're going to be eventually with a very, use the word gentrified urban core ringed by very poor neighborhoods. And something's got to change. Was that enough? Explanation.
Thank you, Aggie. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak against the project? Would anybody else like to speak against the project? Final time? Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to the Towers Realty.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing pursuant to Section 859A of the New York General Municipal Law will be held by the City of Syracuse Industrial Development Agency on the 20th day of November 2018 at 8:30 a.m. local time at 233 East Washington Street, Common Council Chambers, City Hall, Syracuse, New York, in connection with the following matter. Towers Realty LR Limited, or an entity to be formed, requested the agency undertake a project consisting of A, the acquisition or continuation of an interest in approximately 84,597 square feet of real property improved by 2 21-story office buildings comprised in the aggregate of approximately 685,000 square feet of space located at 100 Madison Street and Warren Street South in the city of Syracuse. The renovation and reconstruction of the buildings in 2 phases. The first phase to consist of the renovation and reconstruction of approximately 84,000 square feet of office space in the buildings for tenant use and improvements, including but not limited to supplemental HVAC modification and/or replacement of entryways, structural and masonry repairs to electric vaults, boiler room upgrades, roof repairs, signage, fitness room and build out of new space. And phase 2 to consist of the renovation and reconstruction of approximately 316,330 square feet of office space in the buildings for tenant use and improvements, including but not limited to bathroom upgrades, tenant space build out and upgrades, common areas and corridor upgrades, and external facade caulking. Phase 2 and phase 1 are collectively the improvements to the facility. The acquisition and installation in and at the land and facility of furnitures, fixtures, and equipment, which combined with the facility are the project. The granting of certain financial assistance in the form of exemptions from real property tax, state and local sales and use tax, and mortgage recording tax. C, the appointment of the company or its designee as an agent of the agency in connection with the acquisition, construction, reconstruction, renovation, equipping, and completion of the project facility. And D, the lease of the land and facility by the agency pursuant to a lease agreement and the acquisition of an interest in the equipment pursuant to a bill of sale from the company to the agency, and the sublease of the project facility back to the company pursuant to a sublease agreement. The company is the initial owner or operator of the project facility. The agency will, at the above stated time and place, hear all persons with views with respect to the proposed financial assistance to the company, the proposed owner-operator, the location of the project facility, and the nature of the project. A copy of the application filed by the company with the agency with respect to the project, including an analysis of the costs and benefits of the project, are available for public inspection during the business hours of the agency at its offices located at 201 East Washington Street, 6th floor, Syracuse, New York.
At this time, would anybody like to speak in favor of the project? And I apologize, please, for the record, that's who you are.
Yep. I'm Tim Lynn, counsel for the project owner. And I guess I can answer any questions that you have about the project.
Any members have any questions? Would anybody else like to speak in favor of the project? Would anybody like to speak against the project?
So, once again, I'm Aggie Lane of the Urban Jobs Task Force. And here, my opposition is about process and about a big question mark. The first is, when I went out to look at the analysis, what wasn't available to me was the largest portion of it. It says the pilot wasn't determined, but it would be available to you, but not to me. Now, I can't run down and somehow see that. So all I know is that there's probably the biggest portion, the pilot, I can't see how much it is. So that's a problem to have a public hearing and not have that here. The other piece of it is, well, this says it has going to have 296 construction jobs, 18.3 million in construction and renovation, and 150 in demo. That sounds like there might be a benefit there if again, we had something like Syracuse Build going, and we had something in your policy. But the biggest question is they already have a pilot. It's about to expire. And this building is about to go on the tax rolls. And now we're going to negotiate another pilot. It feels a little like destiny again. And I guess I don't get it. I just sort of feel like we need these buildings back on the tax rolls. And it's part, and again, there are really no new jobs. It's just maintaining the building for its tenants that are already there. So I don't quite get it. So again, I'm opposed to it. And one last thing. So the Urban Jobs Task Force comes here to be the public scrutiny. It is really too bad that this agency got rid of the oversight of the Common Council on pilots. It puts a tremendous burden on an advocacy group like our group to be the watchdogs. So, again.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak against the project?
Morning. Where's the mayor? On Friday, this poor city of ours couldn't plow the streets. My office is on Salina and Kennedy, all those side streets on the south side. I ran up on them. At the end of the day, the storm stopped on Friday around 7. And all those streets, Beard, Borden, Kirk, McLennan, and on. I called 448 City. What a waste of time. When the plow dumped its snow in front of Bishop Ave, by my house, I had a hell of a time getting out. Called the city. Well, it ain't till Saturday they straighten it out. But we're going to give away some more tax breaks. Downtown again. I've been here before. You don't have money to plow? You know, you got excuses? You know, I just came back from the Land Bank board meeting at 8 o'clock. Counselor, you're going to get another 200 plus properties that are being foreclosed on. People like Kellogg Street that made the paper. They don't pay taxes, but they get away with murder, 40,000. That's on the list. Then you demolish the hell out of the near west side. Delaware Street is the next target street. Knock them down. Don't fix them up. No money to fix them up. So the question is, why are we giving another tax break to a downtown developer that already got one? So I'm calling on you guys to help out the hood. We need the plowing. We need the renovation going on in our neighborhoods, not the demolition, but you always take care of downtown. So I'm calling on the board members, each and every one of you, to say no. Thank you. Oh, by the way, Rich Pachowski, Executive Director, Syracuse United Neighbors on Kennedy and Salina Street. They know how to plow Salina. Kennedy, forget it. Martin Luther King Boulevard, boom, boom, boom. And where's our mayor? He says he's going to take care of snow plowing. That's a joke.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak against the project? Would anybody else like to speak against the project? Final time. Would anybody else like to speak against the project? Okay. Thank you. At this point, we'll now call the meeting to order. Next order of business would be roll call. Michael Frame, Chair.
Steve Thompson.
Ken Kinsey.
Kathy Murphy.
Ricky Brown.
I note for the record that notice of the meeting was appropriately posted. And next, move on to the minutes. And take a motion for approval of the minutes from the October 16th board meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Next, moving on to new business, 300 Washington Street LLC. Sue?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. The first resolution in your agenda today with respect to this project is the inducement resolution. As you know, the inducement resolution is your action appointing the company as your agent, undertaking the project, and authorizing the state and local sales and use tax in an amount not to exceed $1,329,120. It authorizes the execution and delivery of the agency agreement, which is attached as an exhibit, and it authorizes the mortgage recording tax exemption. All of those benefits contingent upon the execution and delivery of the lease transactional documents. For the board's benefit, this project, the company first came to the board some time ago prior to construction. There were some delays associated with moving the process forward, and as a result, they revised the project a little bit and came back, and we held a new public hearing this morning to ensure that the project was properly described. But this project has been presented to the board in the past.
So then there's 3 resolutions that need to be voted on?
Yes, so we're going to consider the inducement first.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the inducement resolution.
I'll move that, but I have a question also.
Okay.
Sue?
Yes.
The project, as I understand it, is self-financed.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you just review for our benefit and their benefit the process upon which benefits accrue to the project?
Yes. So the benefits that are being awarded, let's start with the sales and use tax exemption. The company can't receive that benefit until it actually spends money. That's how it works. They don't get appointed as your agent until we close on the transaction, and once that happens, then they have to actually spend the money in order to receive the benefit. With respect to any pilot agreement that is approved, if the project is not completed in accordance with what was presented to the board in the application and otherwise, then the board has the ability to recapture all benefits, including any pilot. So the checks and balances, so to speak, for the board is that they have to spend the money to get the sales tax exemption. If they don't complete the project, they don't get the pilot gets terminated.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions?
You need a second on the motion.
Yeah. We'll go back to it. No problem. Any other questions? All right. At this time, then I'll take a motion for the inducement resolution.
So moved.
Can I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The resolution carries. Next, we'll do the pilot resolution.
Yes, so this is a pilot, a 10-year pilot which conforms to your uniform tax exemption policy for the benefit of the project. And again, should the project not be completed in accordance with the presentations and the submissions to this board, you would have the ability under your current recapture policy to go back and recapture all of the benefits.
And are there any other questions? This time I'll entertain a motion for the pilot resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Ricky,
Ricky was opposed. Any abstentions? Third is the final resolution.
the final approving resolution grants the authority to the chairman, the vice chairman, and the executive director to execute and deliver all documents necessary to confer the approved benefits, which is comprised of all of the lease transactional documents.
Can I entertain a motion for the final resolution?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution carries. Now, Powers Realty.
Yes. The first resolution in your agenda with respect to this project is a resolution appointing the agency as lead agent for purposes of conducting a coordinated review under seeker. We also note that after reviewing the EAF, this agency is the only involved agency for purposes of seeker.
Okay. So,
It's a motion to appoint yourself as lead agent.
the motion to appoint ourselves as lead aid. Could I have a
I'll
motion to
make a
approve?
motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
The next resolution in your agenda with respect to this project is the seeker resolution. It is a finding after reviewing the EAF that was submitted by the applicant. This is a type 1 action, but it will not have a negative environmental impact, and it is issuing a negative declaration outlining those findings.
Entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The resolution carries.
The next resolution in your agenda with respect to this project is the inducement resolution. You will note that this is the final resolution in your agenda at this time. The agency staff has been working closely with the assessment office to arrive at the final pilot numbers. We thought we would have it done in time to present to this meeting, but we were not. The assessor was out for a little while, and so there was some delay through no one's fault, actually. But as a result, there's only the inducement resolution. There are no additional resolutions with respect to the financial assistance. That information will be provided to the board, both the pilot numbers and the supplemental cost-benefit analysis will be provided to the board prior to you being asked to vote on any pilot. The inducement resolution, however, like all inducement resolutions, looks to undertake the project, to appoint the company as your agent for purposes of undertaking and completing the project in accordance with the terms of the resolution, and of course contingent upon the execution of final lease transactional documents. It authorizes state and local sales tax in an amount not to exceed $300,000. It authorizes a mortgage recording tax exemption in the amount of approximately of $100,000. The other thing I will note is that this is a significant job retention project. It is not designed to be a job creation project. There are tenants in that building that are fluid, and so it is a significant retention program for the city. The other thing I want to point out is there is a request in here to authorize what we have defined as an additional public hearing. It is a fail-safe. This project we are desperately trying to close before the end of the year in order to stabilize the building and the tenants and the benefits that would be accruing to the project. If we are not able to do that, we would like to hold another public hearing in December to request the board to authorize a short extension of the existing structure that is in place in terms of the relationship with the board and the project. We are hoping we do not need to ask you that. But if we didn't ask for the authority to hold a public hearing, we would run out of time. So that is a fail-safe that's being requested, and that's the only unusual thing in this inducement resolution from any other resolution the board adopts with respect to projects.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstention.
The motion carries. The resolution carries. Next.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
The next project before you is a motion or a resolution to authorize a public hearing. The project is a renovation of the Allen Buyer Auto Sales Facility. It is a $3.3 million project that is requesting mortgage recording tax exemption of about $26,000, a sales tax exemption of about $140,000, and a pilot which, per our standards, will be calculated during this interim period. The company currently employs 81 people at its facility and anticipates 12 additional employees. And again, the action before you is authorizing a public hearing at our next meeting.
So, motion to approve a public hearing.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. North side?
The next project, Northside Genesee Associates LLC, is again asking you to authorize a public hearing on the project. The project description consists of a new 350,000 square foot building containing 283 residential units, first floor retail space, and indoor parking for just under 300 vehicles. The total project cost is estimated to be just over $62 million. The owner is seeking benefits from the agency in the form of a mortgage recording tax exemption of approximately $330,000, sales tax exemption valued at just over $2 million, and a 15-year priority commercial and residential pilot schedule. This property is in the neighborhood revitalization strategy area and therefore would be eligible for that pilot. The owner is forecasting 9 new jobs at this location. And again, this is authorizing a public hearing.
So we're just the resolution for, okay, so,
Motion.
second?
Second.
Oop, sorry, you have 2 resolutions. My bad.
So are we doing can we do the public resolution first? And
Yeah.
since we're there? So for the public hearing.
Public hearing resolution.
Resolution, got Ricky, Ken, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution carries. Now the lead agency?
Yeah, so the second resolution before you is to name the SIDA as lead agency for purposes of a coordinated review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Obviously, it's a very large project. We want to make sure we do it right.
So a motion for the resolution for lead agency?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution carries. Sue?
No, I can, yeah.
I'm just gonna step in for Sue because
Okay.
that's fun. The next, the next resolution before you is again authorizing this body to act as lead agency for the purposes of a seeker review. This project is the renovation of Jefferson Center, which is at the corner of Salina and Jefferson, a 2-phase project that will be a total project cost of $10 million. I think we've previously reviewed this, so I won't go into all of the details, but this is the lead agency resolution.
So a motion to appoint SIDA as lead agency?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next, the D&O insurance?
Yes, it's that time of year where we take care of housekeeping business. The action before you is to authorize staff to enter into an agreement for your directors and officers insurance, which covers the staff and the board in the event that we get in trouble. This is the same policy the board has had for at least the past 5 years. So it's an amount, $5 million worth of coverage for $7,000.
Do we need to vote on it?
We do.
Okay. Motion to approve us having insurance?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution carries. Grossman, Santa Moore?
John?
Yes, thank you. This proposal would be to approve retaining Grossman St. Moore to do our financial audit for the 2018 fiscal year. There are 2 engagement letters you should have. Instead of the typical one, they split out another phase of the audit as Mr. Lasan, Mike Lasan, the managing partner, indicated there's a new requirement related to the investment report that goes into the ABO for the state in terms of that reporting. However, the fee was not raised. He simply split it out. The total fee would be $17,000, which is actually a $1,000 reduction from last year.
Let's entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Just note for the record, I abstained.
Okay.
Thank you. Annual Board of Directors evaluation.
Yes, the last item on the agenda today is the required board evaluation. This will be compiled by you, or filled out by you, compiled by staff, and then we are obligated under the Public Authorities Accountability Act to submit it to the authority's budget office as part of our annual reporting to them. We're going to try to break up all of these things for you so it's not too much at once.
Are there any questions? You don't need to vote on it, right?
No, we do have conflict issues.
And then one final issue,
Yep.
conflict of interest.
So I wanted to make a request of the board and bring something to your attention. We have some developers who are represented by my firm who are looking to take advantage of the Opportunity Zone projects that are now available in 14 different sites, 14 different census tracts identified through the new tax incentive program. And to the extent that, so they're already clients of our firm, and so that creates a conflict of interest, a potential conflict of interest with me representing the board. So what I proposed to the chairman and the executive director and the mayor was to seek a waiver of those conflicts provided the following things occur. That there is no request for a deviation from your pilot, because with no deviation, the forms are standard, and there's no negotiation to be had. Also contingent upon the developer providing a waiver stating that in the event there is a default or any actual conflict arises with respect to the project, the developer would seek new counsel and not object to me continuing to represent the board. Third, the construction of what we call a Chinese wall, which would bifurcate and prevent any cross, I'm going to say contamination, but that's not really what it is. I would have no ability to see any document electronically or hard copy from the developer's file, and likewise, the people who are working on the developer side would not have any access to my files. We have one project that has filed an application but is not ready to be on the agenda yet because they're putting together some more information on their EAF, and it's Common Space Warren LLC, and that developer is a client of the firm. And so I guess I'm asking in general, are you comfortable with that process? And in particular, are you okay proceeding with the Commonplace Warren project under those circumstances? The developer has already been provided in that case with a waiver letter that is consistent with the waiver letters the board has accepted in the past.
I would just add, just from a staff perspective, we reviewed the terms, and I feel comfortable, I think the staff feels comfortable with the provisions and fail-safes within that structure, that this board will always have independent representation.
And the board should know that you are free to retain independent counsel to discuss the conflict with. You certainly could talk to Meg about it as your counsel from Corporation Counsel's office, or you could retain a third-party counsel to discuss the parameters of the requested waiver.
And this board would always be notified when this situation arose, so that, you know, in each instance, you would have that knowledge.
And Corp Counsel is on board.
Court counsel doesn't technically represent SIDA.
They're aware of, are they
The mayor is aware.
Okay.
I cannot affirmatively say whether Corporation Counsel, Corporation Counsel was not on my email.
Okay.
But the mayor was, Mike was, and Nora was.
So what our common practices? Do we know? Of
That
common
is,
practice?
what Sue outlined as common practice in firms, to completely separate the two.
Past before that.
We have we have where it was my prior firm and other attorneys represented the developer in different aspects, but when is Kevin still here? But when it came to filing the application, Kevin would refer the applicant to a third-party outside attorney to file the application. Kevin would work, and I don't mean to speak for you, and you can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but you happen to be here, so Kevin would facilitate in putting together the entire financing package and bring everything up to the point where they filed the application. He would then hand it off to do the small SIDA piece, and then he would step back in to do everything else. So this sets up a structure where if I was still working with Kevin, he would be able to stay in, but we would put up this Chinese wall. And if his client ever asked for a deviation from the pilot, then there would be no waiver. They would have to get new counsel, because then there is negotiation. Then it is a different structure. But your stated UTEP is what it is, and we don't allow people to change our documents. So,
This is fairly common practice and based on the proposal that you've outlined.
yes. I will tell you that other IDAs do it.
Does it? Any other questions? So,
Don't need any action.
so just.
I do need a motion with respect to the Commonplace Warren project, because that's already, they've already filed their application. So I either need to be able to work on it on your behalf, or I need to say we need to do something else.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve for us to continue on the Common Warren project.
Yes.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Is there any other?
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Sue. Is there any other topics for new business? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Oh,